we learn this lesson again and again and again and again and again and again. You can never be sure with Nintendo. Never, 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 never. Not about anything ever. You can never be sure. In fact, the more sure you are that something will happen, the less likely it is to happen, because that is how Nintendo works. I was so sure we would get a June Direct. Just completely sure. And I knew that was foolish. I knew it. I knew what I was doing. You know, I've been playing this game long enough. I know I know how silly it is to be sure to go out on that limb. But you know what? That's life. Sometimes you just gotta do it anyway. I was completely sure. I went out on that limb because it just seemed so right. Every single sign pointed to there being a major direct in June. So many previously announced games that needed new trailers and release dates, that still need new trailers and release dates. And then most of all, that holiday game. I can't let go of the idea of that holiday game, that weirdly empty, like November slot. And yet, June passed. It is no longer June, it is actually July, well into July. And furthermore, in June, you know, they did give us a direct, but it was a DK direct. So that's all cleared up, you know, giving us like new info on DK. That was a thing they could have done. So they decided to just wrap that up into its own presentation. And so that's all done. Overview trailers out. Game's gone gold. Game comes out in like a week. So, okay, that's done. That's basically behind us. And then they also announced a brand new game in the Splatoon series, Splatoon Raiders. That was just like out of the blue. It was not like a holiday game. It was not like the game coming this year, but it was still a new game announcement. So like at that point, like, yeah, obviously if there were going to be a June Direct, if there was going to be Direct anytime around now, they would have just waited to reveal a brand new Splatoon game, a Splatoon spin-off. Yeah, they would have waited. So it is clear now that there's probably not going to be Direct for a bit. And if that's true, where does that leave us? I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I mean, okay, well, technically, they could do a direct in a weird month. That's always an option. They could do a direct this month. It is, you know, this is me being sure again. Now I'm going the opposite way. Well, now we're definitely not going to get one till September. They could do one in July. Why, if they wanted to. I guess this week probably would have been when they did it. But like, there's also next week. You know, they do it like mid-month. Could be possible. Again, why would they reveal a brand new Splatoon game? I don't know. Or a mini. You know, the mini is always like the weird, like, it's the wild card. You never know when they're going to pull out a mini. They don't nearly as much as I feel like they should. But if they do, then you never know when it's going to be. You absolutely never know, especially if it's like just going to reveal a bunch of like release dates and trailers for previously announced games. That could be in a mini. I could see that. But if not, if we really aren't going to get another direct until September, then I don't know. Okay. If you want to talk about the previously announced games that need new trailers and release dates, random drops aren't so bad. They're really not. You know, like, it is weird that they would like reveal, you know, Hyrule Warriors, for instance, and then just like we haven't heard anything about it since then, and then there isn't a June Direct, and yet like the thing about these games is that we know they're coming this year. You know, unless there are some that are delayed. Again, I really still have a really hard time believing that Kirby Air Riders is coming this year. It hasn't even actually been fully revealed. We had a teaser trailer. So in that case, I have a very hard time believing that they'll like give us the full reveal, absolute full reveal randomly, and then a release date. So that one's weird. But I don't know, for like Hyrule Warriors, yeah, they could just, I don't know, tomorrow, they could just give us a new trailer and give us a release date for like September or something. And like, okay, yeah, sure, I guess that's squared away. You know, Pokemon, we already know plenty about Pokemon. Pokemon may do their own presentation. We already have a release date, so okay. Yeah, I guess that one's kind of whatever too. Then Metroid Prime 4, it's such a notable release. They're giving us this fancy Switch 2 edition, so it's like hard for me to believe that's just gonna get another random drop and then just kind of get pasted somewhere in some month. I don't know. It's just the weird thing is that we're in the second half now. We are in the second half of the year. So like every month that goes by, that window of remaining time to give us the release date and then release a game is getting smaller and smaller. You know, they're not going to give us a release date for like a week from now. In just about every case, if Nintendo gives us a release date, it's going to be for like months out. You know, it's going to be months away. It's not going to be even giving us a release date for a game like for next month. Even that seems like too soon. That would be a little bit weird. So it just kind of feels like they're running out of time for a lot of these games, especially for bigger profile games that are gonna need more. Again, Kirby, like if it is coming this year, it needs a full reveal, it needs a trailer, and then a couple months later, it needs another trailer, and like, I don't know, maybe not if it's gonna be kind of a smaller game. I guess we technically don't know the scope of the game, but I don't know. It's just weird. But yeah, all that to say, it is true that with all of those games, they could just get random drops. They could just get random trailers and release dates and just, that's it. Between now and the end of the year, or like over the next couple of months, we start getting trailers and release dates, and they just kind of release in random months here and there through the end of the year. The biggest confusing thing really is that holiday game, and I know I can't shut up about it. I know I can't quit. I guess I kind of have to let go of the idea, don't I? June was kind of the last chance. It really was. Again, that is me assuming things. They could, I don't know, they could reveal a big game, a big holiday title in July or August and release it in November. That's technically possible, I guess, but it would be weird. It would be kind of unprecedented, really, especially because like, the reason I think that the holiday game existed, or thought it existed, I mean, I guess I don't need to go over the whole entire thing. I already did. I've talked about it plenty, but just like, it's the first year. It's the Switch 2's first year. What's the holiday title? Pokemon is usually not the holiday title. That is a holiday title, but it's not like the holiday title. It's usually kind of its own thing. That's coming out in October. There was just a big empty space for November. And Nintendo releasing Mario Kart and then DK Bonanza right after it. That spoke of such confidence, because why wouldn't DK just be the holiday game? Why? If they have, like, you know, a lot of these games have a lot of fans. Hyrule Warriors is a Zelda thing. Okay, fine. Metroid Prime, I'm a really big fan, but like I know that it's not the highest profile release. If you want to look at the first year of the Switch 2's life, or the first, you know, the calendar year between release and the end of the year, like it's Mario Kart and it's DK. Those are the big games. So like, why on earth would they release them so close together? So close together, and then have nothing for the holiday. Now, okay, I'll completely admit, maybe this is just me being too attached to the idea of a holiday game. Why does it even matter that much that a big game comes out around the holiday? The important thing in the holiday is just that people want to buy your system, right? That's really it. The holiday game is so that people want to buy the system and the game for the holiday, but like, I don't know, maybe there was once a time when DK was going to be the holiday game, but they were getting ready to reveal the Switch and they just went, you know what? It's done. Like, you know, maybe they were like, we're going to be done by then. We're going to be done by the Switch launch. And we already have Mario Kart at launch. So I don't know. Just launch it early. Just launch it right away. Give everybody a solid, like, half a year to play Mario Kart and DK. And when the holiday comes around, it doesn't matter that we don't have, like, a new game. We still have these amazing games. People are still going to want to pick the thing up for Christmas, right? So maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that's it. Yeah, I'm too into the idea of that classic model when maybe Nintendo looked at it and realized it didn't really matter. Which would kind of make sense. You know, all the other consoles, they always adhere to this really strict, like, holiday release kind of thing. Nintendo already broke off from the generational structure. They released the Switch and the Switch 2 at other times of the year. Maybe they're just, I don't know, they're trying to do things different. They're trying to think outside the box. Here I am, thinking inside the box. What's wrong with me? So yeah, I don't know. I guess really at this point, I really just got, well, okay, well, as always, we should always just kind of wait and see what happens. We can't get too bent out of shape about this. Not to say that I'm bent out of shape. I just really like speculating. This is my job. It's fun. I really love to just try to get into Nintendo's mind and figure out what they're doing. I suppose at this point, I should let go of the idea of a holiday game. Even if it feels weird, even if there's an empty slot there, I guess it's probably not happening. It just seems unlikely that they would do a random drop, a random reveal. Tomorrow, they just give us like a... Because if it's a holiday game for the first year of the Switch 2's life, and we already got a 3D DK and Mario Kart, like, what even could it be? It's got to be something big. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, what could it be? It's got to be, like, Animal Crossing or Smash or something. You know, it would have to be something really huge. And maybe they're just not ready for that. Or maybe they did have something and it got delayed, and that's why there's kind of an empty spot right there. That's why there's nothing really super major coming out around then. Maybe they'll just put Metroid Prime there. I don't know. That'd be cool if that was like the big game that released around Black Friday or whatever. I mean, hey, I don't expect it to get that kind of treatment, but Metroid Dread released alongside the Switch OLED. You know, that's something. So I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll throw that on there, or maybe they'll just stick Hyrule Warriors there and be like, I don't know, it's Zelda. You know, those games never sell as much as the mainline Zelda games, but I don't know, it's still Zelda. In either case, maybe they're growing the series. I don't know. I do still very much expect a Direct in September, if anything. If anything, we'll get our September Direct. You know, that one has been so consistent over the years. And especially if we didn't get a Direct in June and we get nothing between now and September, then I'm sure they will have a lot to reveal. Yeah, I mean, again, stuff in September, there's not that much more space between that and the end of the year. So I don't see them giving a whole lot of games release dates during that time, unless they get delayed to next year, which definitely could happen for any of these games. I'm still not even sold on the idea that Metroid Prime is coming this year. I think it probably will, but I'm just not gonna count my chickens before they hatch, you know? But surely a September Direct is probably gonna wanna focus mainly on stuff for next year. But I don't know, guess we're getting ahead of ourselves. I will stop talking about this now and wish you a wonderful day. And really sincerely thank you for tuning in to videos like this. It really is just some weirdo on the internet just trying to figure out when the next Direct will be, and then it doesn't happen. And why wasn't there a Direct? It's so like funny and weird and inconsequential and just really not worth thinking about that much, but I just think it's fun. So I really want to thank you. If you find this entertaining, you like to hear me talk about this stuff, and you tune in, you're amazing. You're just amazing. I'll leave it at that. I am very pleased that I have you in my life.